Chosen one, what you are about to hear was always going to find you. Not because you stumbled here by chance, because the same God who watched you hold your faith through years of financial silence, the same Father who saw you keep honoring him from what little you had when holding it back would have been easier. He arranged this moment deliberately. And what he wants you to know today is this. Heaven has opened a direct funding line from God into your life. Not a maybe, not a promise still in process. A line that is already active, already flowing, and already moving in your direction, whether you can feel it yet or not. You felt something shift recently. A peace settling where panic used to live. A knowing you could not explain to anyone. A stillness that did not match your circumstances. You were not imagining it. That was heaven opening the line. Most people will spend their entire lives managing scarcity, never knowing that a different provision system exists. One that bypasses every human limitation and runs directly from heaven to the chosen one. You carry the wiring for it. The formation season built the channel. The waiting was not punishment, it was construction. Today, I am going to show you the full picture, what the line is, why it opened now, and exactly how to carry what is coming. This is the message heaven sent you. Everything I am going to share with you over the next hour is completely free. But if at any point your spirit tells you there is something more, something specific waiting for you, the details are in the description and the pinned comment below. Only go there if you feel genuinely led. And before we go into the heart of this, I want you to know what is waiting for you by the time we finish. By the end of this message, you will understand exactly why your financial waiting season had to happen and what it was building in you that makes you ready to carry what is coming. You will receive 2 specific practices you can begin using right away, not theories, but real tools for keeping the channel of provision clear and open in your daily life. And before we close, I am going to speak something over your life that I believe will stay with you long after this message ends. Stay with me through all of it. Every part was placed in a specific order for a reason. Now, let us start here. Before we talk about what is coming, I want to show you what is already happening. Because heaven does not open a funding line without leaving signs. And if you have been paying attention, even slightly, you have already seen them. Let me show you what they look like. If you have been in a season where the money was never quite enough, where you watched other people receive what you had been believing for, and you could not find a single reason why the timing was so different for you, I want to sit with you in that for a moment. Not to explain it away, not to rush past it, just to say, I see the weight you have been carrying, and what I am about to show you will change how you see every single moment of that season. The first sign is something you may have written off as numbness. Over the last few weeks, or maybe even longer than that, there has been a strange peace settling into the place where financial panic used to live. You checked the account. The number was the same. But the dread, the tight, breathless dread that used to come with that check, it was quieter. Maybe even gone. This is not denial. This is not you giving up on the situation. This is not coincidence. This is not your mind playing tricks. This is your spirit receiving a signal that heaven has already moved, even while your circumstances are still catching up. Your spirit is ahead of your circumstances, and that peace you cannot explain is the evidence. The second sign is connected to the first. You stopped catastrophizing the way you used to. Where your mind once ran every worst-case scenario, like a film on repeat. What if this falls through? What if there is not enough? What if nothing ever changes? There is now a strange internal stillness. Something rearranging beneath the surface that your thoughts have not quite caught up with yet. This is not indifference. This is not you becoming passive. This is not resignation. This is your nervous system recalibrating, making room inside you to carry something it could not hold before. The third sign might seem small, but stay with me on this. The numbers are appearing in places they have no business appearing. You glance at the time and something catches your eye. A receipt total, a license plate sequence, something you have now seen 3 times this week, in 3 completely unrelated places. And every single time it happens, something in your chest says, that means something. You do not know how to explain it to anyone, but you keep noticing. This is not superstition. This is not wishful thinking. This is heaven leaving breadcrumbs on a path it has already built. And there are 2 more signs, and these 2 are the ones that will confirm everything else. The 4th sign is about provision arriving in unexpected forms. Small, not dramatic, but the source is different. A refund you had completely forgotten about. A bit of money found in an old coat pocket. A payment that arrived earlier than you expected. A small check that appeared from outside the normal pattern. God does not flood a channel, He is still testing. He sends a small flow first, and He watches how you receive it. These small and unexpected arrivals are not random. They are confirmation that the line is active and the flow has already begun. And the 5th sign is this: the right conversations about provision are finding you. Someone mentions an opportunity in a conversation you almost skipped entirely. A connection is made at a moment too precise to be accidental. Financial possibilities are beginning to appear in your awareness, in ways they simply did not before. Chosen ones are not lucky. They are positioned. And what you have been experiencing is positioning, the kind that happens in the days just before everything shifts. Now, you have seen the signs, but I need to answer the question that has probably been sitting at the back of your mind since we started. Why is this happening right now? Why not a year ago? Why did the waiting have to be as long as it was? That is what we are going into next. And the answer is going to reshape everything you believed about the silence. Let me show you something first. Thousands of years ago, before running water was something anyone took for granted, ancient builders constructed aqueducts, massive stone channels that carried water from mountain springs down into the cities below. And here is what most people do not understand about those aqueducts. The city did not have a water shortage. The mountain held more than enough. The issue was never availability. The issue was that the channel had not been built yet. So while the city waited for months, sometimes years, the builders worked. Every stone placed was not a delay. Every month of construction was not withholding. The building of the channel was not the problem. The building of the channel was the answer. Your formation season was the construction of your channel. And what God built in you during that time is the reason the flow is beginning now. The first reason the waiting had to be as long as it was is this. The financial pressure removed a temptation that most people carry their entire lives without ever recognizing it. The temptation to trust a paycheck, a contract, a human system as the primary source of provision. Every time the money did not come the way you expected, every time the plan collapsed without warning, every time the income fell short, God was methodically answering a prayer you may not have even prayed out loud. He was making Himself irreplaceable, not a backup plan, not a safety net, the actual source. The second reason is one that is easy to overlook, and I do not want you to miss it. The season of small provision was teaching you something that abundance cannot teach: faithfulness with little. And that is not a minor thing, it is a qualification requirement. The chosen one, who has been faithful with a small portion, who gave from it, who honored with it, who did not close the hand around it, is the only one who can carry a large portion without being undone by it. Ruth did not learn how to steward the harvest in Boaz's field. She learned it gleaning the edges, working faithfully with the smallest portion available. The overflow came after the faithfulness, not before. And the third reason this one is going to reshape how you see some of the relationships that exited during this season. Think about the people who are no longer around. The ones who left when things got financially tight. The ones who would have been first in line if the breakthrough had come earlier. And I want you to consider something. What if the financial limitation was not just a hardship? What if it was also a filter? What if God used the narrowness of this season to quietly remove access from people who would have consumed, diverted, or contaminated the very provision that is now arriving? The waiting did not only build the channel, it protected the channel before the flow began. And I hear the Father saying something over this. He says, "I did not keep provision from you. I kept you from provision you were not yet built to carry. What I was preparing for you prepared you first." Before we continue, I want you to breathe for a moment. Not because what comes next is heavy, because what I just showed you deserves to land slowly rather than be rushed through. You were not abandoned, you were under construction. Every moment that felt like silence was activity, just the kind of activity that happens underground, in the foundation, in the dark, where no one can see it yet, but everything is being built. Take one breath with me, in and out. Good. Let that settle. Because now, I want to show you what the construction was for, and what God has waiting on the other side. Here is what is shifting in your life right now. Not someday, not eventually. Right now, in 3 specific areas, and I want to walk through each one carefully so that when it happens, you recognize it for exactly what it is. The first area is provision itself. For those entering this season of opening, income sources you did not initiate are beginning to activate. Things you built in the quiet faithfulness done when no one was watching. Seeds planted with no guarantee of harvest are about to begin producing in ways that will surprise you. Here is what you will feel when it starts. Disbelief first. The mind will ask, is this real? Is this going to last? Then a wave of overwhelm, as the size of the shift lands. And then, if you do not try to control it, a peace that is deeper than the numbers, a peace that says, yes, this is the channel flowing. What you must not do is try to manage the direction of the flow. The moment you try to control the how, the when, the through whom, you put your hands back on the valve. The channel does not need your management, it needs your openness. For those entering this season, what God has prepared is larger than what your previous circumstances gave you permission to expect. Let it be larger. The second area is the people around you. People who carry access, resources, and aligned purpose are beginning to be drawn into your orbit. You may have already felt it, conversations going deeper than usual, connections that feel strangely intentional, a sense that certain relationships appeared with a purpose you have not fully understood yet. And at the same time, people who have drained you, who consumed your energy, your time, your resources without reciprocating, are quietly exiting, sometimes with noise, sometimes without a word. You will feel grief about some of those exits, even when you know they were not right for the season ahead. That grief is real, and you do not have to pretend otherwise. But do not try to pull back what God is releasing. Divine provision often travels through human connection, and He is carefully positioning the right ones for where you are going. The third area is the one I want you to pay closest attention to, because this is the one most people rush, and rushing it costs more than they realize. For a long time, your calling and your income lived in 2 separate rooms. What you were built to do and what paid the bills were 2 entirely different things. That separation is ending. They are beginning to merge. And when they fully align, the multiplication is not just financial, it goes generational. It goes into legacy. What you will feel as this begins: a creative restlessness you cannot explain, a sudden clarity about what you are supposed to build, an urgency that has direction in it rather than panic. And here is what I need you to hear clearly: do not monetize in haste. The timing of when you open the gate matters enormously. Let the alignment be complete before you open it to the public. There is a name in the original Hebrew that I want to bring to your attention because it holds something most translations do not fully carry. In Genesis, after one of the most difficult moments of Abraham's life, he named the place where God met him. He called it Jehovah Jireh. Most translations will give you, the Lord will provide. But the root word in Hebrew, yireh, does not mean to respond after the fact. It means to see in advance, to see before the need even exists. So when Abraham named that mountain, he was not only saying, God gave me what I needed today. He was saying, I understand now that God saw this moment before I ever packed my bag for the journey. The provision was prepared before the need was known. Your financial breakthrough is not God reacting to your situation. It is God revealing what He already saw and already arranged before you began to ask. Your provision was decided before the waiting season ever started. You are arriving at it. You are not creating it. This is the pattern we see in every chosen one who has walked this path before you. Ruth came to a foreign field with nothing. No resources, no status, no connections in a new land. And she did not devise a strategy to change her situation. She simply positioned herself faithfully, consistently, without demanding acknowledgement in the place where the harvest was already happening. And Boaz did not need to be convinced or approached. He found her exactly where she had been faithful. That is the posture of this season. Not chasing, not forcing, positioning, and staying in the field. Before we go into what comes next, I want to pause here and mention something briefly, because the timing feels right. There is a specific tool I am going to come back to in more detail a little later in this message. It is called The Genius Song, a 7-minute audio track built on decades of documented brain research, designed to shift your brain out of survival mode and into the state where it can actually recognize and receive what heaven has been sending your way. I will explain the full science behind it when we get there. For now, if your spirit is already responding to what I just said, the details are in the pinned comment and description below. Only go there if you feel genuinely drawn. There is more to cover, and what we go into next is the piece that makes everything we have talked about actually work in your life. Chosen one, let us pick up right where we left off. Because I told you there is a reason that not every chosen one steps fully into the provision that was prepared for them. And I promised I would show you what it is. Here it is. The number one reason a direct funding line from heaven exists in someone's life and the provision still does not fully arrive is not a lack of faith. It is not unworthiness. It is not the wrong prayer or the wrong posture or the wrong church. It is this. The chosen one has their hands on the valve. When you have been in a season of financial pressure long enough, a pattern develops, and it is not a bad pattern. It makes complete sense why it forms. You start doing everything you can to figure it out, working harder, planning smarter, praying more specifically, building contingency plans on top of contingency plans. You put your hands on every lever you can find, because the alternative, simply resting, trusting something you cannot see or control, feels irresponsible, like you would be letting yourself down. But here is the tension that creates. The chosen one, who is building a channel with their own hands, cannot simultaneously hold those hands open to receive what the channel was built to carry. You cannot grip and receive at the same time. The two postures are incompatible. And so, with the best intentions, with sincere faith, with real effort, the hands close around the valve. And the flow slows. I need to say something directly to you right now. You are allowed to stop solving this yourself. You are allowed to release the responsibility of figuring out the how, the when, and the through whom. You are allowed to trust a provision system that is much larger than your strategy. You are allowed to let God be the provider, not your backup plan, not your safety net, but your actual primary source. You are allowed to rest while heaven works. You came into this message managing. You are leaving it trusting. You came in calculating. You are leaving it receiving. You came in protecting. You are leaving it releasing. You came in solving. You are leaving it surrendering. That is not passivity. That is the posture that opens the channel. Do you remember the story of the prodigal son? He left his father's house with his portion of the inheritance, spent everything, lost everything, and ended up working in a field just to survive. And here is the part that matters most. He did not pray his way out of the famine. He did not come up with a better strategy. He came to himself. He recognized that what he was doing was not working, that the solution he was chasing was not the solution, and he turned toward his father's house. The moment he turned before he arrived, before he said a single word, his father was already running toward him. The abundance was always there. It had always been there. What changed was not the abundance. What changed was his direction. I want to tell you about someone who discovered this the hard way, and then the beautiful way. For 8 months, this man had 3 separate income projects running at the same time. He was waking up at 5 every morning to pray. He was tracking every financial decision, every outgoing amount, every incoming possibility. He was not lazy. He was exhausted, and nothing was breaking through. One evening he sat down and said out loud, to no one in particular, "I cannot figure this out anymore." And he stopped. He did not have another plan to put in place. He simply released the grip. 3 weeks later, someone he had not spoken to in over 2 years contacted him with a project, one project, directly aligned with everything he had always known he was called to do. That one project, in 1 month, paid more than all 3 of his ventures had produced across the entire previous 8 months combined. He stopped solving. The channel opened immediately. Now, with the obstacle named and released, I want to give you 2 specific things you can take from this message and begin using in your life starting today. The first is what I want to describe as open hand stewardship. It has 3 parts, and each one matters. The first part is simple. Every day, once a day, find one thing you have received and say these words out loud or in your spirit. God funded this. Not luck alone. Not my effort alone. God funded this. It can be a meal. It can be a moment of clarity in the middle of a stressful day. It can be a dollar that arrived when you needed it. The language you use about what you receive shapes what you continue to receive. What you name, you keep. The second part is this. Every day, find one thing to release, one open-handed act. It does not have to be money. It can be your time, your attention, a word of encouragement you could have withheld. Give it freely, without calculating what you expect in return. I know that sounds counterintuitive in a season of need, but remember the aqueduct. A channel blocked at one end cannot flow. Open-handed releasing keeps both ends of the channel clear. This is not a spiritual transaction. It is the posture of a hand that is open, and provision flows toward open hands. The third part is to write it down. When something arrives, however small, record what came and where it came from. Over time, the divine pattern becomes visible on the page, and seeing the pattern builds the faith that carries you through the next season. The second practice is the one most people skip, and it is the reason provision can arrive in someone's life and disappear just as fast without them ever understanding what happened. When something good comes, money, opportunity, relief, an open door. Give it 5 seconds before you immediately route it to the next problem. 5 seconds. Name it in your spirit. Let it land. Say, somewhere inside you, this was sent. I receive this. That is all. 5 seconds of conscious reception before the mind moves on. This is not financial management. It is training your spirit to recognize divine provision as divine, not as random, not as coincidence, not as something you barely scraped together, but as sent by the one who saw your need before you knew you had it. 5 seconds. Every time. Let it land before you spend it. And what I am about to show you is the reason this practice works the way it does. Because what I have not yet told you is what is happening inside your brain during all of this. And once you understand that, everything we have covered today comes together in a way that is impossible to unsee. Before I can show you what is waiting for you, and I will show you, there is one more thing I need you to understand about yourself first. Not just what you receive, who you are in this flow, what you are carrying, and why it changes everything. I have been building toward this since the beginning of this message. Stay with me. What comes next is the piece that locks everything else into place. Let me bring together what we have covered before we go deeper. The first thing I want you to hold clearly is this. God has not been withholding from you. A provision system larger than any human institution already exists, and it has been pointing toward your life for longer than this conversation has been happening. The second is this. You have been in a formation season, not punishment construction. The character, the surrender, and the faithfulness that season produced in you is the qualification that this level of provision requires. You were not just waiting. You were being built. The third is this. You are not a recipient of random blessing. You are the chosen one built to receive and release. The funding line was not opened for accumulation. It was opened because of what you carry and who you were built to serve. Hold those three things. And now, breathe for just a moment. Notice where you are. Notice the air around you right now. Before we continue, and what comes next is significant, take one slow breath in and breathe out. Let everything we have covered so far settle into a stable place. Take another if you need it, because what I am about to show you will anchor all of it with something very specific, very real, and very practical. Let us go. Researchers who have spent decades studying the human brain have documented something that changes how you see everything we have been talking about. Inside your brain, there are different states of electrical activity, different frequencies, and for most of your adult life, especially if you have been managing financial stress, running plans, trying to figure things out, your brain has been locked into what scientists describe as a survival frequency. The state of scanning for danger, solving immediate problems, calculating how to make it through the day. And here is what that survival frequency does to the channel we have been describing. It filters. When your brain is running in survival mode, it actively marks incoming signals that do not match its immediate priorities as irrelevant and removes them from your awareness. Provision signals, opportunity signals, the recognition that a door has opened, all of it present in your environment, and all of it filtered away, not because God did not send it, because the receiver was tuned to the wrong frequency. Documented research across peer-reviewed studies spanning multiple institutions and several decades has mapped the counterpart to that survival state. A frequency called gamma. It is the brain state your mind operated in most naturally when you were a young child, before the weight of adult life narrowed your range. In gamma, the brain recognizes patterns across information it would otherwise miss entirely. It makes connections. It picks up on signals and opportunities that the survival state brain cannot register. And what that same body of research has also documented is the moment gamma begins to be suppressed. Researchers call it the decline effect. It begins around age 7, and gradually, as the pressures of life accumulate, the brain shifts more and more towards survival frequency, while the God-given receptivity of the gamma state grows quieter. This is not a spiritual failure. It is a documented biological shift, and it explains something that many deeply spiritual, sincerely believing people cannot understand about themselves: why they can pray and believe and stand in faith and still miss the provision that was sent. Not because God was not moving, because the receiver was miscalibrated. Of the 18,366 people who have worked with what I am about to share with you, fewer than 4% returned it. That is not a sales number. That is a signal that something real is happening for real people, people who were in seasons that looked very much like yours. And I need you to understand something about yourself before I go further. The spiritual sensitivity you carry, the ability to feel the shift in the spirit before it becomes visible in the natural, the awareness of things moving in the invisible realm before they arrive in the visible one, is not accidental. It is the fingerprint of gamma still trying to operate through years of suppression. You were wired for reception at a level most people were never built for. What this does is restore what was always already yours. Not introduce something foreign. Restore what belongs to you. Someone wrote to me after 21 days of working with this. He had been stuck at the same income ceiling for 3 years, not from lack of faith, not from lack of effort, but from a brain running the same survival loops it had been locked into since his hardest season. 3 weeks of 7 minutes every morning, that is all. And something changed in how he was seeing. An opportunity that had been available to him for months. One he had physically been in proximity to, more than once, suddenly became visible. He recognized it. He moved on it. His income shifted within 30 days. He did not find a new opportunity. He finally received the one that had already been there. If you have tried audio tools before and did not experience much from them, I understand why this sounds like familiar territory. But what you tried was not this. Meditation, audio, sleep, music, standard, binaural recordings. None of those are designed to reach or reactivate gamma specifically. Brain entrainment, which is the specific mechanism this uses, is a different science with a different target and a different outcome. They are not in the same category, and the difference matters. And to the part of you that is looking at your current situation and thinking, this is not the right time to add anything new, I want to acknowledge that tension honestly. Because asking someone in a season of financial need to make any investment is something I do not take lightly. So here is exactly what it is and what it includes. This is called the Genius Song. It was created by Dr. Robert Lake, a neuroscientist with 34 years of dedicated research in this specific area. It is a 7-minute digital audio track. You put on headphones, you sit still, and you listen. No mantra, no journaling, no waking up at 4 in the morning. 7 minutes, based on documented brain entrainment science, and it begins working from the very first session. The original price is $49. For those who encounter this specific message, the price has been set at $39, not as a commercial promotion, but because Dr. Lake's mission has always been to reach the people who genuinely need this, not only the people who can easily afford to explore it. When you access the Genius Song, you also receive the Genius Child audio track, the same technology calibrated specifically for children, so that what you are restoring in yourself can also be given to the ones coming after you. And that carries a value of $19 on its own. You receive the foundational book that the film, The Secret, was built from the original source material, focused on real practical principles, valued at $20. You receive a 22-minute guided visualization that moves through 4 domains of your life, valued at $29. And you receive a practical habits guide for the daily practices that keep gamma active over the long term, valued at $12. That is, $80 in additional resources given to you at no additional cost. And the guarantee is this: 90 days. If after 90 days you have experienced no shift, you contact us and receive every dollar back. No conditions attached. Nothing to return, it is delivered digitally. And every single bonus stays with you regardless. Every dollar of $80 in resources remains yours. The worst possible outcome is that you walk away with $80 in materials and your $39 returned to your hand. The invitation standing in front of you right now, in this specific season of your life, with the channel already open and the flow already beginning, is not one that stays available indefinitely. Heaven moves in windows, and the chosen one who recognizes the window and steps through it carries something the one who waited to decide never receives. This is your window. What you do with this moment matters. Before you search for this anywhere else, I need to protect you from something I have seen happen. There are imitations circulating that carry similar language, but do not carry the original calibrated technology that makes this work. The only place to access the authentic version of the Genius Song is through the link in the pinned comment and the description below. That is the only trusted source. Please use it and protect yourself from imitations. If your spirit is confirmed, if something in you recognized itself throughout everything I just shared, the link is there. Go there only if you feel genuinely drawn. This is an invitation, not pressure. And I hear the Father saying something to you right now. He says, "You have been working so hard to build what I have already built for you. Stop, turn, come home to your provision. It has always been here, waiting for you to stop constructing and start receiving. Now, let me tell you who you are in this provision system, because you need to hear this before we close. You are the builder, not in a small sense. You are the chosen one who is building something that outlasts you, structures, legacies, futures that require resources from beyond the human system to sustain them. That is why the funding line was opened from above, because what you are building cannot be fully funded from below. You are the light bearer. The abundance flowing into your hands is not for accumulation, it is for illumination. What God sends through you is designed to light a path for the people walking in the dark behind you. When your provision arrives, someone else will see it, and their courage will be restored. You are the pioneer. In your family line, in your circle, in your community, you are the one going first into this. You are breaking a generational pattern. What you step into does not stop with you. It redirects the inheritance of everyone who comes after you. This is not just about your finances. This is legacy work. This is a generational shift. And you are the hope restorer. When your financial breakthrough arrives, and it is arriving, someone in your life who has quietly stopped believing that God actually provides for real people in real situations is going to witness what happens to you. And something inside them is going to come alive again. You are not just funded for yourself. You are funded as evidence that the system is real. You are commissioned. You are covered. You are funded. This is not what you hoped for. This is what was always intended. Come with me for a moment before we close. Right where you are, without moving, without needing to do anything physically, I want you to let your spirit go somewhere. Picture the place where you most feel the presence of God. Let it come naturally. It might be somewhere from memory, or somewhere your spirit knows but your body has never visited. You are there now. And in your spirit, look upward. Not with your physical eyes, with your spirit. Above, whatever ceiling is above you, above the sky, into the place where heaven meets the human story. And you see something, not a flash, not a dramatic spectacle, a door already open, quietly turned, like a valve that someone adjusted before you even arrived. And from that opening, something is flowing downward, not rushing, steady, warm, moving along the path of everything you have been faithful with, following the channels the formation season built every stone of that aqueduct placed for this exact moment. This is not imagination. This is spiritual sight. You are seeing what heaven has already set in motion. Let the warmth settle into your chest. Let it move through your hands. This is what it feels like when the channel is clear and the chosen one has released the grip and received the flow. This is real, and it belongs to you. Before we close, before I speak the final word over your life, I want to witness something first. You sat with this for a long time today, and before this message, you had already been sitting with a season carrying something heavy in the quiet, holding faith in a silence that did not always feel like faith at all. That deserves to be acknowledged. Not explained, not solved, just seen. I see it. And more importantly, so does he. Right now, in your spirit, picture the weight of every financial worry you carried into this message today. See its shape, its heaviness, the way it has been sitting somewhere between your shoulders and your chest. Hold the image of it for just a moment. And now open your hands in your spirit. Just open them. Let the fingers release. And let the weight fall. God did not open a direct funding line into your life so that you could hold the thing that blocks it. The flow requires open hands, and you have open hands now. I want to call forth over your life right now the aligned income that reflects your calling and not just your capacity. The divine connections who are already carrying the keys to what God has prepared, they are being positioned in your path as we speak. The mind that finally recognizes provision when it arrives and does not filter it away. And the sacred relationships, those God-ordained connections bound by destiny's embrace, the ones placed to walk alongside you in what is coming. They are being activated over your life in this moment. It is being called forth. It is being spoken. It is happening. And I hear the Father speaking this final word over you. He says, I did not build you for shortage. I did not walk you through the fire of this season just to watch you settle for less than what I prepared. What I open, no human hand can close. And I have opened it over you, over your household, over everything you were placed on this earth to carry and build. You are funded, you are covered, you are commissioned for more than you have been allowing yourself to receive. Step into it. It has been waiting for you longer than you have been waiting for it. The channel is open. Heaven has been flowing toward you since before you knew to ask. In His name it is sealed. Amen. If your spirit received that, if something in you shifted while you sat in this message, I want to hear from you. Type, I receive in the comments right now. Let your faith be spoken out loud. Let it be witnessed, even if it is just you and this screen. If this message opened something in you today, tap the like not for a number, but because there is another chosen one who needs to find this today, and that one tap sends it in their direction. If this is the kind of word your spirit needs, if you want to stay in this frequency, remain connected. More is coming for you here. And one last thing, you know exactly who I am talking about. There is someone in your life who has been quietly struggling with provision and has stopped talking about it because they got tired of not having words for it anymore. You do not need to say anything to them. Just send them this. Let heaven speak to them the way it just spoke to you. Right now, chosen ones all over the world heard this same message in this same moment. You are not alone in this season. The channel is opening for all of us.